Now we're honored to have Frank Gaffney joining us via Skype. He is in Washington, D.C. Frank Gaffney is the founder and president of the Center for Security Policy, a very a strong line advocacy organization that promotes weapons programs. Well, I don't know if that's exactly what all that is encompassed, but I can tell you you're also a radio host and you're spreading the word about some of the most important issues of the day. Frank, thanks so much for joining us.
It's great to be with you all.
Hey, Frank.
Thanks especially to Nick for his service to our country and all the folks that you're trying to help with this Troopathon. It's a real privilege to be able to participate.
Well, Frank also has just been given a promotion to the blogosphere as well. Hello, Frank. How are you? We will be working. It took us a while. We announced last year that we were going to put this thing together, but we had to do it right. And he will be leading the charge at Big Peace.
Hey!
You know, just as I told you about Bill Whittle, like you can wind him up and he tells you why we're fighting. Sometimes Frank comes into a room and he tells you things you don't want to hear. And that's the problem right now, is that there's a lot of information that's not getting out there to the front page of the New York Times. Frank is the eyes out there and is the intelligence of what's going on out there and why we're fighting and what we're fighting. Thank you and welcome aboard.
Well, listen, this is so exciting to be able to participate in any of the big Breitbart operations and to help launch one that I think is going to be a powerful catalyst for what I think of as Reagan's philosophy of peace through strength is just one of the highest privileges I've ever had. So I thank you, Andrew, for making this possible. And Melanie, I know that as with what you're doing today, this is going to be a team effort. And the kind of quality commentary and video and radio and you know, blogging and investigative reporting that we're going to be doing at Big Peace is just going to be really, really a catalyst for the kind of change the country requires.
We're going to break the news later, and we couldn't wait till Sunday at Big Peace, but we've got some pretty big information that relates to why we're fighting and an amazing award that has been issued, or that will be issued, that is the first time since Vietnam, but we'll be quiet about that one. You've got some breaking news as well that you broke on big government that you wanted to talk about today. Could you talk about that right now?
Well, there's a couple of different things that are going on. One that is directly relevant to the troops that we're trying to support here is the quality of the direction that they're getting. And one of the things that came across the wires yesterday in the form of an article out of Foreign Policy magazine online is a report that a so-called red team that has been operating as part of a sort of outside-the-box thought process at CENTCOM, Central Command, has recommended that the United States government abandon the policies that it has historically followed of trying to isolate and ideally defeat Hezbollah and Hamas,
what a novel
two of the most
concept.
dangerous terrorist organizations in the world, in favor of now embracing them and empowering them to become part of the ruling coalitions in their respective areas, for Hamas, the Palestinians, for the Hezbollah types, Lebanon. And what's really scary, and I'm so glad that this has gotten out, is that we have now indications that this is actually the view not just of a red team, an outside group or group that's supposed to be at least thinking outside the box, contrarian, or in fact modeling the enemy's position. This is supposedly now the view of guys who run Central Command. Maybe Petraeus himself, but certainly other unnamed senior officers and the intelligence team at Central Command. And I got to tell you, if we're lining up with the enemy in this war, and the military of this country, or at least their leadership, is telling us that that's what we should be doing, we're in even bigger trouble than I think we are. And God help us, and God help the troops that are going to wind up paying most immediately the costs of that very serious strategic error.
Well, the more people that find out about it, the more people who will be outraged, and that's the whole point of Big Peace, so welcome aboard.
Very good. Thank you, Frank Gaffney, for joining us today live.
My pleasure, really, and thank you for what you guys are doing. God bless you all, and God bless the troops that you're going to, I know, make an incalculable difference in the lives of, in so many cases.
And don't God bless Hamas.
I just have to leave on this note, Frank, that the first time I ever met you was in Washington, D.C., and I have to admire your strength of character, that you stay inside the Beltway and do battle with these inside political types who are clearly out to destroy our country.
Well,
So
it's a
thank
target-rich
you.
environment, as they say. But Melanie, thank you for what you've been doing all over America, and it makes our life a lot easier to know that there's real Americans behind us. God
Thank
bless
you.
all.
Frank Gaffney, who is actually a member of the Committee for Present Danger and a new member and contributor to BigPeace.com. We got to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be